Good morning. Good morning. Java Delight will uplift you. Stay tuned. The show is about to begin. Grab your coffee. Stay tuned. This show is about to begin.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. We are Delight Cafe's Digital Cafe. Woo, that was not right. We are Delight's Digital Cafe, and I am Brandon Croucher, honored to be here after an amazing weekend of just getting out, doing positivity, doing great things. Honored to have Miss Jessica Dugas as our first comment of the day, hashtag winning. Her and Charlie Sheen are running off together. I'm sorry, Phil. Good morning, Stuart Lone Wolf. Good morning, Breakthrough Show. Gavin Kerr is not just on my side over here. He is handsome. He is running around getting busier and busier, seeing that what happens when you do more and more, how bigger it gets, and he is loving it. Ladies and gentlemen, he is not just in better shape. He is better looking every day. Love it. CK Ford, I watched you this morning and loved it. Thank you for being on the Breakthrough Show. Good morning, Bob Seymour, spreading positivity. Gavin Kerr.
Yeah.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. I'm actually doing really well. I woke up today at 7 and then slept until 7:30, which is really weird to say that's how long I slept in until 7:30 in the morning. I usually don't wake up until 10 minutes before the show. I went to the gym this morning for the first time in probably 2 months now, and it felt really great. I'm very happy, very proud of myself. I was able to get there, able to get my workout in. Last night I went and I had dinner with my family, which was nice because at home all I really do is cook rice, beans, and meat, and they made hibachi, so I went over there and ate rice, beans, and meat. But I did it with my family, so it's been a good morning. Had a lovely conversation with the receptionist at the gym about inefficient toilet paper dispensers. It was it's been a good day.
You felt that was a conversation needed with the gym manager?
Yeah, no, just the lady at the counter. She wasn't the manager.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just laugh because I think that's where they make their money, buddy. Let me tell you, people of the world are sad. People of the world are sad they did not see your face on Project Joy this morning. I have to be honest, Jessica, I literally had it on in the background. I did my meditation. I was in a zone where I wanted to be able to provide to this morning. I knew that I literally was coming in ready to hit the ground running and pushing out the door in good ways. And I had your stuff on as the background. I even knocked out a bunch of things I usually have trouble getting knocked out. Throughout my Mondays, I woke up extra early, and you were my fire that was filling me during my meditation. So please know, I literally missed everybody at the Breakthrough Show. But guess what? Gavin, we have some pretty big things coming up this week, don't we?
Yes. But could you please remind me, because it's all in my Google Calendar, because I, for the love of God, cannot keep track of one day, let alone a whole week.
So we are going to be live with Jessica Dugas this Friday on her show, The Breakthrough Show. This is her first time going live. And she is 100% going to be killing it. She is excited to have us on. We have a conversation with her later today that we're excited to be diving into. We're talking about y'all. They were talking about us, and I couldn't get in there. I saw CK Ford on there this morning, the author. I need to give her a quick praise. I have to do this because I'm so honored of her. I'm so stinking proud of her. Her book has been released on Amazon, and
awesome.
She's already been picked to be one of the top female authors of new releases. She already is on Amazon's bestseller.
That's amazing.
100%. 100%. She is an amazing human being. Well, first time since season 3. You know what, Jessica? Way to kill our vibe early. You blew out my candle. And so she's been, C.K. Ford wrote her book. It's out there. It's a poetry book. It is absolutely amazing. I have my copy next to my bed. I started it this weekend. Guys, go pick up C.K. Ford. It is the best Ford you'll ever own. That's a good joke. You just don't get it, Gavin.
I drive a Chevy, and I'm also not a huge car person either. I like the ones that get me from point A to point B.
So my favorite comment right now is this one, blowing it out. I love it. Jessica Dugas. So everybody, do us a favor in the comments right now while we have a great amount of people watching. Tell us what your favorite part of your weekend was. I have somebody watching that I'm going to have some fun with here. I hung out with my buddy Mike, and we went and saw private planes fly, like people hand-built model planes, flying them all over the place yesterday.
Like the RC cars, but planes? Is that what you're talking about?
Correct. And then him and I did the RC car and was jumping it off ramps and stuff. Yeah. It was so much fun. Mike did take a bit of a tumble this weekend. I felt bad for him. He didn't realize that the step he was stepping on was a lot bigger than it was. And I'm standing at that step, and I watch him miss the step, and his feet keep moving as he falls to the ground. Now, the remote control is so sensitive, and it's one of the most expensive parts, right?
Yeah.
He's falling to the ground. And I'm like, oh, he's going to smash that thing. That's going to suck. He just told me how expensive it is. I watch him tuck, turn, and just take the elbow as all of the weight. Like, it's scratched up. But, man, I am grateful he's okay. We had so much fun. The planes were absolutely astonishing to watch these planes just come in, land, take off. And, one guy had a jet. Dude, I've never known that these things they had jets like this. It's like as big as me. And
they're
he's
big and they're fast.
So fast. So fast. It was so much fun.
That's when I used to do the rock climbing cars with the RCs. My stepdad was big into those when he first met my mother. And we would do competitions. People sink money into those. Like big money into those. I remember we would do an event at the what is that? The IX Center. We would do events at the IX Center with them, and there would be people. Yeah, there'd be people there who would have like crazy sports cars, and then the exact replica of their vehicle in an RC car.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love my RC car collection. He has he has like one right now, but his dad has like a plane that they're building, and we're gonna get some pretty cool video of it. His RC car is quick too. The biplanes were sweet. I mean, really, they had one that was like a classic one. And the way it came in, I've never been to the actual air show, but like they touch down and then take back off again. Like they just like lightly across the grass. Bro, this guy was flying this old thing. I was like watching like an actual air show. I felt like a celebrity being in this spot with these guys. They were just having fun. It was so much fun.
Did you ever watch Malcolm in the Middle?
Only a few episodes, so I wouldn't probably know what you're going to tell me.
So there's an episode where the father, Hal, gets really into the boats, the RC boats, and he's driving it around on this pond or this like lake by their house, and this kid keeps knocking his boat over. He's like a rich kid. He's got like this fancy thing, and his dad, the kid's dad, but the dad of the show, modifies his boat with this little rocket. And like halfway through the episode, just ends up blowing up this kid's ship, just completely destroys it. because the little punk kept driving past him and flipping his boat over.
Oh God. So we learned, because Mike wants to get a boat now, like one of the remote control boats.
Yeah.
I learned yesterday that means we need a kayak or something as well, because we're gonna have to go out there and get it when it flips upside down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a lot more expensive of a hobby than I expected. You know,
I mean, all these are really, like, all these hobbies can get really expensive after a while.
all of them can, 100%. So guys, throw in the comments, what are you most grateful for over the weekend? It could be something big, it could be something small, it could be something as easy as, you know, you got some you time. I'd love to hear that. Mine was getting to actually spend some time with my friend and make it about us and just completely let go of everything else in the world and just be able to focus on that. I had a lot of business meetings this weekend, and it's just been a lot of fun. So tell me, what are you guys grateful for? Gavin?
I want to say probably last night, you know, spending the evening with my family and eating dinner together, hanging out was a really fun time. I know a lot of, while I don't drink, I do know a lot of bar tricks and stuff like that. Yeah, they go crazy fast. Like, it's insane. But while I don't drink right now, I know a lot of bar tricks and a lot of bets. And everybody else there was drinking their beer and whatnot. So I was doing different tricks with them. Like, one of them was I bet James, one of the guys there, I bet him $20 that I could get all the beer out of a bottle and into a glass just using a straw faster than he could. And I gave him a 1-minute head start. And I absolutely annihilated him.
Really?
Yes. Use bendy straws for it. That's important. It makes it a lot easier. And what you do, so while the one person, they always do two methods. You can't move the bottle at all. The bottle just has to stay stationary. You can touch the bottle, use your hands, your mouth, whatever to get it out of there. But you got to use the straw to get the liquid out and into the glass. And most people, they'll either do the suction method, where like they'll have the straw and they'll just put their finger on it and just a little bit at a time, or they will suck up the beer through the straw, hold it in their mouth, and spit it back out into the cup. That's the two ways that I see most people go into it. The way to really do it, though, is to put your hand over the straw in the bottle and then take the end of the straw, the bendy straw, bend it over so it's pointed into the cup, and then you just blow into the bottle. And what it does is the pressure from you blowing in forces it straight up out of the straw and just flows right out. And Brian Tracy, I wouldn't say that you annihilated me in Scrabble, all right? You beat me by like 40 points. I'd say that's a pretty close game as far as Scrabble goes. The average Scrabble word that for us is like 20 points, let's say. So you didn't annihilate me, but he has been beating me. He has.
I heard he's been beating you pretty good. You've told me that. You're like, you give him a run for his money. Yeah, but
there's always a turning point. Like, what happens is we'll go back and forth with each other on who's winning. And then I'll usually get like a lead of like 30, 40 points. But then I'll just end up with nothing all of a sudden. Like, there gets to a point in the game where like I just have no words that I can play. I'm getting like 10 to 20 points at best. And then he just is finding these very little niche spots like ZI on a triple word for 40 points. I'm like, this is bullshit.
That's funny. Yeah. Like, I swear he must have a cheating thing. Like, is there an app you can use to cheat?
I mean, Google. You can just Google what words are with these letters and then type in your letters, but that's no fun.
Highest scoring letter word is quartzy. I did not know this. You're welcome.
Not either.
So today we have a busy show today, my man, don't we?
Yes.
Today we're going to be having on Brett Gordon. He's going to come on and teach us about Doctor Strange, which is going to be a lot of fun. CK Ford. Oh, I love it. I love all the support, encouragement that I've been receiving on my new book and releases, Silver Shadows of the Moonlight Soul. 100%, guys. The link is right here. If one of my mods can grab that and share it so everybody can click it. I have, excuse me, I have my own copy. She wrote me the nicest, like, gratitude on the inside. I opened it up, and then I got a book the same day from Jessica Dugas. I won, and she wrote me a note on the inside, and I was so grateful. I was cleaning up some things in my life, and it was already a hard day, and read these 2 notes, and then as I'm going through things, I ended up finding letters from old friends that I haven't talked to in years that were telling me nice things about, like, how they're grateful we did this, we did that together, and all this stuff. Man, I gotta be honest, buddy. When you start seeing those things, it's pretty awesome. Like, you start reconnecting with your own self, seeing how your life has been. I was so happy for what's going on. Bob says he was happy for all the donations that went to his ride. Phoenix says you're welcome for that. Brett Gordon from Businesses Are People Too coming on to talk about Doctor Strange soon. Mainly because I think that he's actually, like, the real Doctor Strange, just being honest. I mean, I don't call him Doctor Strange. I just call him Brett Strange. And
what is your reasoning behind why you think he's the real Doctor Strange?
So I've never seen Brett standing up. He's always in his chair at his computer. He is kind of strange in his own ways, but not in a bad way. And the best part about who Brett Gordon is Brett, I think, I've never met Brett in person. Everything's been digitally. So part of me thinks maybe he could just, and then all of a sudden he's going to be here walking through this yellow wall. I don't know. I've never met him in person, so I can't prove that he can or can't.
I feel like he'd be more like the Watcher in that case. You know who the Watcher is?
Brett's my superhero guy. He teaches me about my superheroes.
So the Watcher is like, he supposedly was watching everything all the time. He's like all omniscient, basically. And you never really see him, but he's there. He's always in the background. I believe that's what Stan Lee's character was supposed to be, supposedly. Like, supposedly
Really?
all those Stan Lee cameos, they were supposed to be his character for the Watcher.
That's
and
funny.
that's why he's in and that's why he was going to be in every movie the way he was.
Oh, excuse me, I burped. Sorry about that. That was like came out. I was ready to answer you, and it came out of nowhere. I am sorry about that,
good.
people.
Yeah.
I blame Brett. He's sitting in the background. My first book is I hit Third Day Revelations, and guys, I have her link right here. I'm sharing it on all platforms right now. CK Ford is an inspirational leader that is doing everything she can to spread positivity, spread light, spread joy, spread the good things we're supposed to want to spread with one another. And she is just an amazing soul. So do yourself a favor, go click that link that we just shared and get out there and be ready to spread positivity, love, and joy. Gavin, are you good with bringing Brett in and talking about Doctor Strange?
Yeah, I like Doctor Strange. I dig it. I'm down with that.
Is he your favorite of all superheroes from Marvel?
No, he is not. Spider-Man.
Brett, that's like 4 Spider-Mans in like a week.
Spider-Man by far, yeah. Spider-Man's always been my favorite. I've always wanted to be Spider-Man. I always looked up to Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man is by far my favorite superhero.
Why?
I think so. From a little kid's age, it was very easy for me to relate to him.
Are you talking Tobey Maguire?
I just mean the character in general.
Do you have a favorite Spider-Man?
I do. I do think that if we're talking live action, I would say that Tom Holland overall, and this is why. So I think that Tobey Maguire was the best Peter Parker out of the 3 of them. I think that his Peter Parker was phenomenal. The character development, the storyline, I really enjoyed how he was portrayed. His character arcs. Andrew Garfield, I thought he was a dick. In all honesty, his Peter Parker, He wasn't really awkward. That he was actually really handsome, and he was like very confident in everything he did. Like, that's not Peter Parker. Parker was a loser until he became Spider-Man, and even then, he still had to deal with bullies and stuff, and kind of like just suppress all this power that he had. So I wasn't crazy about Andrew Garfield's or about his Peter Parker, but I did love Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I thought his Spider-Man was a lot of fun and more entertaining to watch than Tobey Maguire's, as far as his quips and stuff like that. You know, I thought he was a lot funnier and a lot more entertaining. He also was a lot more agile, but I think that's has to do with special effects that we have now versus back then. No offense to Tobey Maguire, but Andrew Garfield was also in a little better shape for the Spider-Man role. And then, yeah.
I like him. I like.
Oh yeah, I think that they all brought their own bits and pieces to the universe for sure. But I believe that Tom Holland is a very nice balance between both of them. And I think he's the appropriate age for starting out with Spider-Man. You know, Tobey Maguire, wasn't he like pushing 30 when he first took the role?
Oh yeah, that's so old.
Well, for a teenager, yeah, that is old.
That's true, because he was supposed to be in high school.
Yeah.
Batman is the best superhero because he is just a regular human being. Doctor Strange and Black Widow from Rising Phoenix saying, yeah, look at this. Tom Holland, hands down, best one. There you go. All right, so let's bring Brett in here and keep this conversation going. Brett Gordon, ladies and gentlemen, from Businesses Are People Too, teaching us about leadership, mental health, and not teaching us about bad things.
You told me I was bringing him in. Hey, he's got rings on.
Ring.
I don't know why. This is the first time I've seen your hands. I just kind of assumed that you were just like
another tool.
I just kind of assumed that you were just like from the shoulders up.
What did I say? He is literally never stood up. I've never seen Brett stand. It's always in a chair, or he has a green screen behind him. Somebody had to set that up because Doctor Strange has helpers and stuff. And Brett is just such a chill dude. I could see him being Doctor Strange.
Well, I can guarantee I'm really strange. One of the two.
I don't think Doctor Strange was a chill dude. I think he was just extremely wise.
He was wise. He was also sometimes, very cocky too.
Yeah. I wouldn't describe Doctor Strange as chill. I would describe him as wise and
actually pretty.
Yeah, and mild-mannered at best.
Mild-mannered at best. We have a Mike Herzog is starting to call out which one's the better real human superhero. It's a good conversation because, truth be told, Iron Man really did do it all himself. He really did. And Batman had a super assistant. I'm still looking for my genius assistant to build my tools.
Well, Iron Man also got all of his equipment and knowledge from his father and his father's company.
Yes.
Like he learned everything from his dad. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Well, he learned a lot from his dad and got that from his dad, kind of like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I could see Elon Musk being like that. Could you see Elon Musk making like a personal rocket and he's flying it around?
Oh, I could totally see him making an Iron Man suit altogether.
Like, I could see him showing up to something like the Oscars, the Emmys, something random, and he's like,
yeah,
and steps out. Like, I could see.
It's funny too. He would do what he did with the flamethrowers, because they weren't actually called that. They were called something else for legal reasons. But I could see him making like 100 of those suits and then putting them out at a reasonably affordable price and saying, "Don't buy these," and then selling them all within an hour.
Yeah. Don't buy these. Like, don't you wish you had a business you could be like, don't, and then everybody buys it?
Yeah, that's what he did with the flamethrowers. He said, nobody should buy these. Please don't buy these. And everybody bought them, like, immediately.
Right. I love it. So, Brett, tell us about Doctor Strange and what makes it so strange.
Well, I think Dr. Strange actually, he was, I think that, like Mike brought out, he was an extremely high-strung surgeon first. I mean, he thought, and he was like the best that there was in his field until he crashed his, what do you have, a Lamborghini, and then destroyed his hands and had to find another way to heal himself because there was nothing that was medically possible to heal what he had done to his hands. And he had spent basically his entire savings to try to do that. And eventually he ended up getting connected with the Ancient One. And the Ancient One was the holder of knowledge from eons ago, and was able to control kind of fold time and space and things along those lines, which was really a pretty amazing thing. But basically what she said is that she had healed. He found out about her through another person who had like a severed spine that never should have been able to walk again. And in fact, he had come to Stephen Strange, Dr. Stephen Strange, before he became Dr. Strange. Dr. Strange turned him away, didn't even let him in the office because he wouldn't take a patient where there was no way that he could potentially cure him because he didn't want to ruin his reputation. He didn't want to risk his reputation on something that he couldn't do. On the other hand, he also wanted the most difficult cases that had a possibility because he was going to prove that he was the best in the world for what he did.
True.
Anyhow, he was a cocky bastard, in other words. And he had no bedside manner, which is not unusual for, some of these great doctors, great surgeons.
Yeah.
They don't have good bedside manner, and oftentimes they have a doctor that assists them that is the one that actually goes and talks to the patient.
Yeah, breaks bad news to them and things like that.
Yeah.
Right. So that was Dr. Strange. And then when he went to the Ancient One and she started to try to tell him how he could heal himself, which was outside of the modern medicine theories and practices, he was like, there's no freaking way that you can do that. There's no way that you could just use your mind, or there's no way that you could just, get into yourself and have your body self-heal, that type of thing, or draw on powers that are outside of what we believe is available or possible.
Right.
And she basically knocked his spirit or soul, or however you want to call it, his astral body, knocked his astral body out of his physical body and had him falling through space and time and freaked him out to basically say, shut the F up. You don't know what you're talking about. Just because you don't or weren't exposed to these other realms of the universe doesn't mean they don't exist.
Right.
And that was the first time that he really started to open his mind to the possibility of things well beyond what the human mind had comprehended up to that point in time. And he then started to really study and learn of these different things. And that, I think, was, part of the amazing journey that he took. And he had to be beat a few times, and he had to basically be shown that you're not the ultimate out there, and you won't be. But that's when he started to become a little bit more introspective. He became more humble.
He was humbled. Getting your ass kicked humbles you. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you been in a fight, Brett?
I have avoided fights my whole life, or stopped fights. But have I ever been in a physical fight where I had to, throw fists or anything? No.
I've been in quite a few of them, and I've won quite a few of them, but I've definitely lost quite a few of them as well. And there's nothing more humbling than a good old, passionate, old-fashioned ass whooping.
When I was I've always been a smaller guy, 5'6", you know, like I used to say when I was in college, I got to recognize people at frat parties by their knees, because that's about where my eyes came up when you're walking through the party and there's all these tall people around in the parties. Well, it's better than just going by the other part of their body that might be eye level.
Their hips?
Yeah, that one.
Shakira always taught us hips don't lie.
But I used to hang out with
Shakira.
In fact, I hung out with bigger guys that were my friends, and they played rugby.
Oh, there you go. That's a fighting sport.
And we were drinking at a party one night. Can't believe that ever happened. But they convinced me to become a hooker. A rugby hooker.
Excuse me?
Yeah, exactly. Well, they were the props, and if anybody knows rugby, the hooker is in the middle, and the props are the ones that you hold on to when you go into the scrums.
I saw him today.
I'm so confused.
I am too.
Wait. Okay. So
who's a
we
hooker?
live in I'm in America.
So have you guys ever seen rugby?
No, I know nothing about rugby. This is all new to me.
Okay, so rugby's an amazing sport. It's a sport. It's a worldwide.
Sounds
sport.
like it.
Well, rugby is tougher than football.
Yeah.
I hear what people say, because they play basically tackle football without pads.
Yeah.
And there's some big dudes, and in fact, I was just watching a series on Amazon called what is it called? All or Nothing, about the All Blacks, which is the New Zealand rugby team, and they have the greatest professional sporting record in history of any sport. They have a 77% winning record.
Wow. So the All Blacks have the best hooker, is what you're telling me.
Well, they also have some of the best hookers and props and everything else. Absolutely. So,
okay. So before we continue, you need to explain to me what these positions are and what they do for context sake.
Well, it's hard for me to explain. If you've never seen any rugby, there's one part of rugby called a scrum. And a scrum is where there's 15 guys on a team, and 8 of those guys on each side will kind of get into a position where they're very low to the ground, pushing against each other, and there's a hooker in the middle of it who is supposed to hook the ball when they slide the ball into the scrum. And these guys bang up against each other, and then they're in this scrum until the ball comes out of there. Anyhow, the hooker's in the middle, the props are on the side. My friends are the props, so they convinced me to be a hooker for one season. And the only reason I really did it is, well, 2 reasons. One, I was drunk. The second reason was the sponsor of the Bloomington Blues rugby team was Michelob. So after every home game, Michelob would give 2 kegs of beer so that we could have a party. Because one of the best things about rugby is after the game, both teams get together and party like crazy. And, you know, drink and have a good old time. And in fact, there was a team up in Chicago called the Southside Irish. And one of their big things when they would come to a party is all of a sudden they would all disappear. The next thing you know, they would all come out naked doing the elephant walk and then serenade the other team.
What the hell is an elephant walk? See, Jesus Christ. Can we go back to Doctor Strange?
Right. All right. So Doctor Strange somehow is the purpose of this conversation of hookers, rugby, poles, and a naked walk. I am so intrigued of where this is going.
Yeah.
How this is going to connect to Doctor Strange.
It's a hell of a game.
Brett, please. The comments are perfect. Like rugby post. Can you show them the leather and the lace?
Well, I was going to show you.
Oh my!
Have you ever heard of the haka?
Oh, the hooker.
No, the haka.
The haka?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
is that the sound the hooker makes?
The All Blacks. It's a Maori. The native New Zealanders. It was kind of their war dance, if you want to call it that.
I'm sorry. That just got me off guard. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That is absolutely correct. Rising Phoenix.
Oh my God.
Right. I got it. I found the rugby haka.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to show this?
60 million people have watched it if you got just the one from the All Blacks doing it. There's nothing that would keep, I don't think there's any kind of copyright on this.
I mean, we're not singing it. I don't know, but go ahead. Tell everybody about Doctor Strange and why hookers are important.
Well, hookers are important for many different reasons, but we'll talk about the one for rugby. The hooker is the one. The hooker is the one who gives a foot job to the balls in order to bring them back into the scrum. How's that?
Bloody hell.
Gavin, you've never seen a hookup before? You've never seen this done before? I'm going to go hookup.
And then you can put
I don't want to answer any more of these questions. I need a shower.
You could put up there you go. That's the go on.
Just waiting for the French to peel off the tracksuits, stand in front of them, and receive the challenge.
So
look how solid they all look. Oh my God! Like from their calves to their triceps or their everything just looks solid on those men.
Oh yeah. So the thing with rugby, they do this at the beginning. Now here's the thing about what they're about to do, Gavin, is this is the way they. Yes, it's the ones that they're doing. It's their tradition, and it's their way of. It's like a chant. It's like us singing the national anthem in a sense, but it's a way of them telling like each other, we're gonna eat the other team's soul for real. That's what it means. And this is cool. I hope you're ready, buddy. Guys, get ready. We're gonna hook on together. It is a sacred stance. It is their war cry.
This is amazing.
What, you haven't seen nothing yet, buddy. Watch this. This is going to get great. It's short, too, so...
Look at all those absolute units.
Well, the challenge has been received by the French. Stand by, the Rugby World Cup final.
Boom.
Wow.
Just a great thing that they're doing.
It's amazing. Actually, Prince Harry has participated in the haka because of his roles in the military, actually, because the New Zealand military will also oftentimes do the haka. So it's an amazing way to get in the state, get in the mindset, get in the power of those around you in order to then participate in the game. And like I said, they have the 77% winning record since 1903. And they are the only team who has beat has a winning record against every other team in the league. They are just phenomenal in terms of their training and in terms of their mental state and working together as a brotherhood. And if there's anything that's going to tie it kind of into Doctor Strange, it is actually that once Doctor Strange really got to understand what the Ancient One was teaching and how that he would be able to then work together with, if you saw the movie Wong, which is one of her people who became kind of a librarian after one librarian lost his head because one of the evil people came in and cut his head off.
It's casual decapitation.
Yeah, exactly. But it was learning.
That's a good band name. Casual Decapitation.
Unfortunately, we see it sometimes not so casually in today's world too.
Yeah, that's true.
But
so Dr. Wong is a librarian.
It's about drawing upon the powers of the universe, the powers that are around you, the energy that's around you, the frequency, getting in that frequency that you're all in the same frequency, you're all on the same wavelength. When a team is all functioning on the same wavelength, there's almost no way to beat them because they know where the other one is going to be before they get there, right? I mean, even if you think about what Wayne Gretzky used to say, Wayne Gretzky said, the reason I am great is only because I know where the puck is. I skate to where the puck is going to be, not where the puck is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is, the same thing that, eventually Doctor Strange was able to do. And, he could play with time and go in the future, go in the past. He's got the sling ring just like the rest of them where they could go into different portals and so forth. But the key thing was really to become part and one with kind of the space-time continuum, if you want to call it that, and leverage that in a way that became beneficial to mankind. So that is part of. Go ahead.
So basically, what you're saying is Doctor Strange is able to take a unified energy and create his power through that after his accident because he was such a smart guy.
Say that again.
So Doctor Strange was able to create the energy, the energy of units because he lost his hands, so he had to use his mind more, and that's how he became such a powerful, strong superhero. Correct?
Well, technically, he was able to kind of heal himself to the point where his hands were fully functional once he became Doctor Strange again. After he learned from the Ancient One.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened was after he healed himself, he just studied in the same library. So in a way, he did use his mind and the power of intelligence to become as powerful as he is now, just by constantly studying.
Beyond that, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And hopefully everybody gets a chance to watch the movie, and then they can watch the pre-recorded version of the review that Brandon and I did. Where Brandon was sitting in, I think, like the Java Cafe that day.
I was sitting in a cafe, yes, sir.
And then on Thursday, we'll do an interactive session again to talk through what came out of it. We'll talk about the tools that we identified as coming out of really what Doctor Strange had done and the movie behind, or the meaning behind the movie as we see it. But Doctor Strange was a good one, and it kind of tied into the rest of the Avengers in that the Time Infinity Stone was part of the medallion that chose Doctor Strange along with the cape, because those two things had to be basically chosen by the artifact, if you want to call it, to become then part of the power of the individual.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the biggest things that really stood out to me from the movie and like was the sacrifice that he makes towards the end of the movie, that self-sacrifice of being killed over and over and over and over again using the time stone and basically imprisoning himself as a solution.
Mm.
Yeah, because he actually imprisoned the enemy.
Yeah.
Doing that.
Yeah.
And that's what actually broke the enemy, is by basically saying, you can't do anything dangerous to anybody else because we can continue to do this till infinity. And while you're doing this, you can't do anything else harmful to others.
Which didn't make sense to me, because as long as he doesn't kill Doctor Strange, couldn't he just go continue eating worlds?
Well, because he was fixated and having to deal with Doctor Strange trying to kill him in order to avoid Doctor Strange being able to kill him, which every time Doctor Strange got killed was because he was trying to kill him, right?
Okay.
So he was just tied into that.
I don't know if he was powerful enough to kill him or not, but I guess also, what was his name? Gantu, I think was the enemy's name. He probably didn't know that either. He's like, oh, well, he can trap me in this time loop, so he could probably do some damage to me as well. So that makes sense.
Yeah, so that if you want to look at it, now you go into Groundhog Day, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about that movie the other day. I wonder, because I was thinking about how long was he stuck? Like, how long could you be stuck in a time loop until eventually you do kind of know and learn everything?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Can you ever know and learn everything?
I mean, if you have infinite time, I believe you could. Because there was that one scene in, now we're switching a little bit, but in Groundhog Day when he says, oh, I'm a god, and he takes the one lady around the restaurant and introduces her to everybody and says all these personal things, and like he learns the piano and he learns all these cool little tricks and stuff just because he lives the same day over and over and over again forever.
Right.
True.
Yeah.
True. And it's a good movie because it makes you see about that stuff. Now, I guess me being me, I'm not a movie guy, guys. Like, it's hard to keep my attention for hours like that. So Brett, when we did this recording, I had to go watch the movie. And I have to be honest, I'm not, like I said, I don't understand how people watch Marvel, DC, and not mix up who's with who. And I say that as like a complete like outsider because supposedly there's a way you're supposed to watch it, just like Star Wars. Why did they start with the fourth one? Why got to make it confusing for me and then bring the other ones up 30 years later? I don't understand, so I choose not to. But Doctor Strange had a bunch of other characters that connected and all that. And it was that made it confusing. And then Brett brought it to my attention in the video that we recorded about the fact that there is only a like he has his own powers and Doctor Strange is his own thing and how they all connect with everything. And the tool that Brett chooses is kind of interesting at the end. He's even confused because I guarantee he forgot what the tool was. Oh yeah, well,
because I just watched it a second ago to remember.
So did I. I had it in mute on the background and had my phone playing, and so I'm like, "What was our tool?" Like I was trying to remember. But the thing is, it really is about him being able to fix and see more in himself than he really was. And the tool that's used is a really great one. And Brett and I will be talking about this live this week, I believe Wednesday.
Well, we'll drop the actually we should drop the link today.
I can't keep switching things. I've already lost like stuff. Like that's why we have mods. So any of the mods,
I can grab that and share it in the links.
Perfect.
But then we'll have the interactive session on Thursday, right?
Yes.
So that'll be going into it and getting, comments, or even in the audience, if you want to join on the screen, we can do that and talk about, what your perspective is on the movie or on our review of the movie. and tie it into things that are happening in your life or people's lives around you, so that it becomes, we continue to learn and grow more from the movie. I mean, the reason that we created One Square at a Time based on movies is it gives us an immediate connection with you, the audience, and gives us something in common, the movie. And then we can draw conclusions and draw benefits from that because we've got some more commonality there. So the interactive state would be even more along those lines. And I just dropped that into the YouTube link into the chat section.
So I don't get this. They have smooths, no Googling. What movie line is that from?
I have no idea what that's from.
And he's telling me they started with episode 4 because Lucas and his team did not have the technology to show us the early stories. They also didn't have spaceships, yet they made it look like they were traveling in space.
So I think, if you go back and you look at 1, 2, and 3, I think people would have been bored. At least by starting with 4, I thought it was more exciting, and then they could come back around to 1, 2, and 3, which I don't think were as good as 3, 4, 5, and 6.
I've only seen a couple of them, in all honesty.
So Mike says it's pronounced Skamods. They have Skamods. No Googling. Brian Tracy says Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
I was thinking maybe like Spaceballs or something like that.
I have no idea. Mike knows I'm not a movie person, so he's having fun with this for everybody else. All right,
well,
so
lately movies aren't even like really movies anymore. They've become expensive TV shows in a sense. Like I think that's one of the issues. Like that when you say that you have trouble keeping up with who's who and everything and who belongs to what, it makes sense because it's not just a movie anymore. It's not even just a trilogy anymore. It's an entire cinematic universe.
Exactly.
Yeah, like unless I do think that Marvel at least does a really good job at making it so you can enjoy each movie as a standalone movie, but there's still a lot of stuff that you will very clearly miss if you have not seen the other movies.
I haven't.
If you watch Infinity Wars or Endgame before seeing some of the others.
Yeah. Well, now I think you almost have to watch like the first, because they have phases instead of seasons. That's what they are. It's a TV show and there's seasons, but you almost have to watch now at least at least like the 3rd and 4th season or phase to understand what's going to be happening now and why the world the way it is. It's developed so much. It's beyond their control of really making them quote unquote standalone movies. Like, no, it goes in an order. It's a cause and effect. Everything is directly affected. Unless you have, I feel like Multiverse of Madness is one that is going to be able to just be a standalone movie because while it's going to have plenty of references to all the other movies and everything, it's, from my understanding, a bunch of hypothetical things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a Marvel guy, guys. This is a conversation for you.
I think Marvel did a really good job of tying them all together. DC also has their kind of cinematic universe, DC Comics. But
they're getting it off the ground. They're figuring it out.
I don't see them being as tied together as tightly as what Marvel did. But
no, their TV shows are good. I like their shows. The CW had a bunch of DC shows on there that were tied together. Those were good.
Yeah, I mean, there's some individual series that are intended to be that way, but how Marvel came together and brought everything together is pretty amazing. And when you watch and listen to the backstories of the visions that these guys basically had and how they had the writers trying to bring everything together, I thought it was pretty amazing. And when you think about it, it's almost like Doctor Strange and being able to start with the end in mind and then write everything toward what that end is going to be.
Gavin's answering you. I see him typing. So apparently it's Blues Brothers. I have only seen that movie with Dan Aykroyd once, and it was like I was young, so I guarantee that's why I don't remember it. But no, I just wrote that, and I wrote it on the main screen, so I will be.
So for those who are confused,
Yeah.
Brandon put BRB into the main chat like an animal, and I wrote into the back private chat, BRB, gotta pee. But I guess I'm going to be holding it in while he runs.
So
See him back there laughing at me. Yeah.
the
But no, the Blues Brothers. All I know from the Blues Brothers is Soul Man. I'm a soul man, which isn't even their original song, but it was featured in the film.
The Blues Brothers had some really good stuff in there. But
Yeah.
if I'm going to talk Belushi, I'm going to talk Animal House. To me, that was the epitome of a college movie, frat movie.
I mean, but could you see anybody making a movie like that nowadays?
It becomes really challenging with a lot of the thin skin that's out there.
Yeah. Yeah, like what was the last? I was listening to Joe Rogan the other day, and they were talking about this, and it got me wondering, like, what was the last really good raunchy or edgy comedy that you've seen in a while that's like came out, like a recent one?
I don't know. You know, the whole Mad magazine series would be really on the edge of being any of the movies that were kind of mad movies.
Yeah.
Would be hard to bring without having challenges.
I think they could get away with it because that's more of like a spoof. I feel like spoofs have like a special creativity that allows them to get away with certain things. But like the example that they gave on the episode I was watching was Superbad. Like you could never make Superbad nowadays.
I don't even know.
I mean, yeah, but they have Knocked Up. They have other ones.
Yeah,
like,
but do you know when Knocked Up came out? It came out over a decade ago.
Superbad was before that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying now, like recently, within like the past 5 years, what has been like a really edgy comedy that was good. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to like look it up and see because I have to be honest, I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
Like there's no American Pie. There's no. But this is way off track from Brett's Doctor Strange. We've strangely taken this topic into a really unique way.
Well, I'm also trying not to go terribly into depth with it either because I don't want to ruin your guys' conversation.
Honestly, this was one where I know I was learning more because I just watched the movie. I'm probably going to have to watch it again before we do the live because truth be told, I'm not a Marvel. I'm not a DC. I'm not a movie. Go pee. I'm not a DC guy. I'm a guy that literally has always been on the go. As I get made fun of for watching this movie, for watching the Blues Brothers. I've just never sat still long enough to watch movies. I've been made fun of by my mom, my dad, my fiance, my friends, and the truth is I sometimes just like to be on the move. And Brett had us do this one, and it really did take a lot of me to focus because I didn't know the characters. I didn't know who was what, and there was parts that I had to ask questions on. And I think I even do that during our interview a couple times. I'm like, but yeah,
Doctor Strange is also a bit harder one to follow just because of some of the scenes and so forth. Like when at the very beginning where they're folding time and space. I've watched that movie now a few times, and those scenes are really difficult to understand what was going on there until you kind of get to the end, and then you can kind of bring it back and see and make more sense about what was going on.
Right.
And that same thing happens in the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. When you get to Endgame, or you get to we'll just call them the last two episodes, including Endgame. And then you go back to the original movies, all the way back to Thor. It all starts to come together, and it comes together in a way that you can now see it and understand where they're going with it. So it's kind of cool.
I love it. So Brett, do us a favor. Tell us again. All right, it's on YouTube. You shared the link. You'll share it again right after we bounce out. That way everybody can see it again. But tell us when you're going live, the time, and where everybody will be able to join and participate.
We will go live again. Well, we'll go live on Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. And you can see it through Facebook, or I would say Facebook Live is probably the best place to see it on Delight Digital Cafe.
That makes sense. And then Mike gave some answers about John Belushi and them. Basically, Animal House was a highbrow, edgy, even American Pie was in-your-face, vulgar for shock value. While Stuart Lone Wolf and I are over here going, well, I haven't seen a single one of these movies of Marvel or DC. I have only seen the ones Brett Gordon forces me to and tells me he'll shoot me if I don't. No, I'm just kidding. Doctor Strange was borrowed heavily from Inception. The next Doctor Strange should be fantastic. And then Gavin, apparently Sausage Party answers one of your questions.
Yeah, Sausage Party. Yeah, that one I
guess
probably the closest one that you can. Yeah, it's been real recent. Even my nephew, who's like 12 years old, was talking about Sausage Party.
Yeah, I remember that. That was interesting. That was one that nobody wanted to make, understandably. That took about a decade for somebody to finally say, all right, we'll be the studio that runs this thing.
Yeah, it wasn't kind of the Van Wilder kind of.
Yeah. In all honesty, I think my mother's reaction to watching it with my 9-year-old little brother was funnier than the actual movie, just because she thought that it was she thought it was like a Pixar movie. And then they start singing about the juice and the hot dog going into the buns and all kinds of raunchy stuff. It was a good time. So I knew what it was, and I was like, I'm just gonna kind of sit back and just watch this dumpster fire take place.
Well, if it wasn't for if I had never seen Van Wilder, I'd probably still be eating eclairs, but not anymore.
It's definitely fun. Well, Brett, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on. It's been a very interesting episode today, between talking about the hookers and rugby, and then ending with the eclairs from Van Wilder. Coming on now, we're about to have our guest for the next segment of the show. Brett, we've read over his bio a couple times now. For those of you who do not know and missed the first part of the show, Brett is the founder of Capital Gains Tax Solutions and hosts the Capital Gains Tax Solution podcast. Each year, he equips hundreds of business professionals with the Deferred Sales Trust tools to help their high net worth clients solve capital gains tax deferrals limitations. I know what these words are, but I've just never seen them in this order. So I'm very glad that Mr. Swarts here is passionate about educating people in capital gains tax deferrals with Deferred Sales Trust, because I am very well in for some class. So without further ado, we have Mr. Brett Swarts. How you doing?
Hey, Gavin. Hey, Brandon. Doing great. How you guys doing?
I'm doing very well. So usually on the show, I'm very good at holding my own with topic of conversation. This is not one of those episodes. I'm definitely going to need you to hold my hand a little bit here for this. I'm pretty wet behind the ears as far as all this goes.
No problem. I have you. No problem.
Awesome.
I love it. So, capital gains tax, what is that?
Yeah. So most high net worth individuals, or those who bought cryptocurrency, 5 years ago, they struggle with capital gains tax when they go to sell these highly appreciated assets, and it's just a way for the government to receive their fair share. It's typically somewhere between 30 and 50% of the gain. So let's say you bought cryptocurrency for $100,000, 10 years ago, right? And or 5 years ago. Now it's worth $10 million. Well, that gain, right, 100,000 to 10 million, it's about $9.9 million, right? You're looking at a tax of somewhere between 30 and 50%, depending on the state you live in and the asset type and depreciation. So it's just a big tax.
So
that's a hell of a tax.
Yeah. Well, Gavin and I have, all right, let's have some fun with this. Gavin and I both have some Dogecoin, and I'm sure you've heard about that. I actually am curious now that you started with cryptocurrency. We both have made some money on this. We both have been doing fairly well. Now it's down today, obviously, but like, what are your thoughts with Dogecoin being one that started? It's a cryptocurrency that started as a joke. What are your thoughts through this and how it's going?
Yeah, I'm a partial owner in Dogecoin too, and it's interesting that the crypto world is kind of the wild, wild west to me in a lot of ways, for especially if you're not educated and know what you're doing. And then it's somewhere between an investment and a gamble when it comes to stuff like Dogecoin, I think.
Yeah.
Of course, if it's something like Ethereum or something that has more economic, let's say, substance or player business model, then all of a sudden the things start to change, right? So I'm still pretty much a novice when it comes to understanding all of the technologies behind cryptocurrency. I tend to rely on clients of mine, friends of mine that have more of that expertise, if you will. So I've invested in crypto starting in 2017, but I'm certainly no expert. But Dogecoin, that's like a whole nother type of animal, if that makes sense, Brandon.
It is.
So the Dogecoin I do know a little bit about. It is kind of a gamble. It really relies more on meme culture, actually, and the popularity of it as a joke. That's why it got popular. That's why it started to increase in value, because it caught the eyes of people like Snoop Dogg and Elon Musk, who gave it a really big light. However, I don't believe it'll ever reach an excessive amounts of, like, honestly, I don't even think it would get to $10. I would like to see it get to $1. And once it reaches there, I'll be selling it, because there is no cap on how many can be produced. Therefore, eventually it would get to a point where you have so many of them. If they were worth $10, there wouldn't be enough of any kind of material to support its value. It would essentially kill itself, or smother itself out. But you're saying then the capital gains tax is where you have this huge lump sum of money, and then the state basically takes 30 to 50% on wherever it is, what state you're in. Is there a way to go about avoiding that, or are you helping people just trying to calculate how much they do need to give, so they're not giving that higher end, they're rather giving a lower end? Or is there a way to surpass it for the most part altogether, where you'd be paying like an 8% tax?
Yeah, there is. So, and it depends on how long you've held the coin, right? Or how long you've held the asset. And so what we love right now for our real niche focus is something called a Deferred Sales Trust. And it's based upon 1920s tax law. It goes back a long time. And this particular strategy has been used for 25 years. It's been tested by the Iras over a dozen times. And what it does is it allows you to defer the tax, not avoid, which is key here, right? Defer the tax. And instead of taking, let's say, and actually I'll have a live deal right now. It's an Ethereum case. And the couple, they bought Ethereum over the last 5 to 6 years. They put about $100,000 into it over 5 or 6 years. And it ballooned up to like $15 million. Okay. And so they're looking at somewhere around, and it dropped back down. So maybe like around like 10 right now. So he's looking at about that $9.9 million liability or gain, which again, 40% of that, he's about to write a check for what, $4 million. So for him, he's going, well, I could sell and pay the tax, or this is where we come in. You could sell and you can defer the tax. You can defer all of the gain. And by putting all of it into this trust, it's a particular business trust. It's not like a family living trust. It doesn't have anything to do with probate. It's kind of like a 401k. It's kind of like an IRA. And what the government says is, hey, as long as you park it here and you invest it into stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate, a business, you can do hard money lending, you can do ground up development. As long as it's investment or business purpose, will allow you to defer it and live off the interest. And what's neat is you still owe the money. It's just an interest-free loan from the government. It's just interest-free loan from the government. And so he's going to take the $10 million, he's going to invest it, and guess what? So he's taking this money that's out in outer space somewhere, or out on the internet or somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. Selling it. He's bringing it to hard assets like real estate, and he's going to start getting cash flow. And that's the transformation. He can literally walk away from his job, never have to work again, spend time with his kids. Right. He's working, 50, 60-hour weeks in the tech industry. And so is his wife as an attorney. And so they're looking at this as like, this is transformational wealth and for our time freedom, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So then if I'm understanding this correctly, the purpose of what the government is trying to do then with these taxes is make sure that the money still goes back into the community somehow.
You got it. It produces more jobs and produces more tax revenue, right? Because if you think about it, his $100,000 inside of Ethereum, what is it doing right now for the economy? I mean, you could say somewhere, but if I can sell it at 10 million, capture that value, and literally build apartment complexes, right? It provides housing, right? I'm in California. It's housing for people, right? Or you could put it into the stock market that helps boost the stock prices, which those companies can hire more people. So all of these things are reasons why the government gives us tax laws to incentivize us to do things that they want us to do. Right. Okay. That's the way to think about it. They can't force you to sell, right? At least not yet. Let's hope they don't go there, right? But they can incentivize you to say, hey, sell this thing. But if I have to pay, $4 or $5 million on my crypto gains tomorrow, I may not sell. I'm like, you know what? That's too much. But if I can defer that, right, and I can make that produce cash flow for me and my family, now will I pay tax on that cash flow? Sure, right? But I'm making an extra. We typically pay somewhere between 5 and 8%. On a recurring basis, depending on how the funds are invested, based upon your approval, right? Everything's you have to approve it, and that's amazing. Especially if you're talking about those kind of numbers.
All right. That makes me feel a lot more comfortable about the situation because, in my personal opinion, the way I am about taxes, like I've looked at a lot of other countries how they have their taxes and everything, and I'd be comfortable paying 40, 50% of my taxes on my income if that meant things like free healthcare, free daycare, free dental, stuff like that, how they do in other countries and stuff. So it does make me a bit more comfortable with the capital gains tax, knowing that what their goal is. It's not to take your money, it's to put it back out to the community to make things. And you have the option of doing it yourself as well. That's nice.
You got it.
What would you recommend for somebody would be the best way to go about that? Would it be more to do like a stock and bond kind of thing, or would it be more to build create your own business or invest in somebody else's business? Like, where do you think the financial move would be smartest?
It's a great question, and it starts with the first word is diversification, right? So it's probably a mixture of all of those. So one of the beauties about the Deferred Sales Trust is it allows you to diversify. You can put in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, hard money lending, ground up development, other business ventures. And I'll just tell you about a couple deal stories. We just did a deal for a gentleman out of Alabama. He actually sold his business for about $2.6 million. He had about $600,000 of liability. Okay. So he deferred all of that, moved all $2.6 million to the trust. And now he's building with his second business, his new business venture, multifamily properties. And so he's in the development game now, and he's going to build 70 units in Tennessee. So that's just one scenario. Now he's in his 40s, and his risk tolerance and his income is very high. He's doing very well, and so he can take on more risk. Now I have another client, and this client sold a primary home, and he's older, and he sold it out of the Silicon Valley. And he'd owned it for many, many years. He had a huge capital gains tax. Well, he sold his house for about $8 million, and we deferred a huge tax, paid off all of his debt. But for him, he put it all into the stock market. Why? Well, he doesn't want to be as active, right? He doesn't want to be dealing with toilets, trash, liability. He wants to put it in the best companies, the biggest companies in the world. He wants to stay liquid. It's also important, right? He doesn't want to be tied up in something that's illiquid, like real estate, that could take a long time to get the money. So the first thing is diversification, I think, is key. And I have clients obviously do a little bit of both or all three. It's just depending on what they want. So we'd always go back to you, Gavin or Brandon, and say, what's your risk tolerance? What's your needs and wants for the income? What's your understanding of investments? And in fact, everything's mathematical. We have you fill out what's called a risk tolerance questionnaire. So we're not just throwing darts here, right? We're actually literally profiling and making sure we understand where you're coming from. You're answering the questions. From that, an allocation is presented to you. And from that, you approve it, if that makes sense, Gavin.
Yeah. So would risk tolerance be just how much you're able to lose and remain sustainable then?
That's a great point. It's a couple things. So one, it's what are your income actual needs? So you would look at your expenses. You're going to look at your expenses, have a budget, and you're going to say, I need $10,000 a month, right? Yeah. So, okay. So based upon X number, how do we get to $10,000 a month on a conservative basis based upon past performance, but it's not a guarantee of future results. But we're going to say, okay, if we put it in this type of allocation and this type of diversification, and these type of instruments, and it could be insurance, it could be annuities, it could be, of course, real estate, has to be investment real estate. Based upon all of that, let's try to back into a number, right? And then that's the number we're going to go. It could also be based upon your just overall gut feeling of like, I don't want to lose my money. Like if I were to lose my money tomorrow, how would that affect my life?
Yeah.
So it's working with you to understand that, spending some time with you, and then presenting the ideas to you. And then you're saying, yeah, I like that idea. That sounds really good. And then we help you execute that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I feel like the anxiety of losing money is a really big issue. Like I know I've been looking at getting a new car, and I almost bought one. I went to the bank, I took out $2,500 in cash for it, and I was just so anxious about taking it out, but now it's just sitting in a safe in my house right now because I ended up not getting the car, but I didn't go and put it back in the bank either. And as the days passed, I realized nothing happened to me. I didn't take the money out and then immediately develop an illness where I have $100,000 in hospital bills. Like it was okay that I took it out. I still have it. It's just not in that account anymore. Do you have to do like any do you personally do any sort of like reassuring or counseling with any of your clients, or do you kind of let them just stay where they're comfortable and give advice when you feel necessary?
It depends on the client. Some like to be on the phone once a month, sometimes twice a month, sometimes once a week. Some people once every 6 months. So we're just here to help, serve, bring great ideas. And what I can say is build a dream team with them for their financial plan and what they're trying to achieve. And we bring in experts. So I'm not just by myself. So I am a commercial real estate expert. I'm actually a multifamily broker by trade. I grew up in the real estate business, development business, rental business. So I love cash flow real estate, especially multifamily, mobile home parks, senior housing. So that's my niche. So I stay in my lane there, as well as, of course, I'm the trustee and help people execute on the Deferred Sales Trust. Now, there's a financial advisor. He's my business partner. He runs and helps people with the security side of things, right? So stocks, bonds, mutual funds, he's securities licensed. So he's doing that part of it. Then there's an actual tax attorney, CPA, who's the other leg of this executing this strategy. And then I call them the brain surgeon, right? They're the ones actually doing the legal and the CPA work. They're the ones who would defend against the IRS. So as a team, we are executing on the strategy. And then, of course, I work with financial advisors and I coach them how to do this, commercial real estate syndicators, so they can also grow their business, if that makes sense. So I have kind of multiple partners, but we all stay within our lane, Gavin, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So what about individuals who want to start putting money into the stock market or even look at investing? You've mentioned a couple different ways, like the one being with Ethereum, and they put $100,000 in. For some of us, like putting $20 in, if not getting anything back, they think they're losing. The stock market to make money is a very tricky thing. It's like gambling, but so is real estate. Where would you recommend people who don't have that $100,000 be able to start investing? And then after they start making money, where would you recommend they go to build their next step?
Yeah, absolutely. So building wealth is 80% behavioral and 20% head knowledge, right? So we can all read certain things and say, oh, it's a cool idea, like Dogecoin or Ethereum or this particular stock or that real estate investment. But unless you're building a foundation for your wealth, which is behavioral and character, which is budgeting, right? Which is paying off debt, which is not spending as much as you're making, right? Which is taking certain percentages of what you make and investing. And so, like, for example, my wife and I, when we first started out, we had next to nothing. I mean, we're living with my brother in his condo. I'm making next to zero in real estate. I mean, the crash hit me so hard in '08. I also saw my clients get really hurt. I mean, I was to the point where people are saying, go get a real job. What are you doing? I'm working nights and weekends at a place called Cheesecake Factory to keep the lights on, baby at home. It was bad, barely affording healthcare, very, very challenging. But during that time, I had mentors and I had people building into me, understanding investment real estate, how to buy and sell real estate, how to grow wealth inside of real estate, understand how to underwrite a property. So it was that education piece and that character leadership development piece. And as well, we did the Dave Ramsey thing for 26 months. We paid off $65,000 of debt, and
nice.
The bare bones. And it worked out. We also had the fortune to be able to buy a piece of real estate in 2011 or 12, which was like the bottom of the market for $135,000 a house. And then we were able to sell that 2 years later for about $250,000, right? And then if you live there the last 5 years in a house, you get tax-free money there. So it's understanding those nuances, but then being willing to humble yourself and be like, what's it going to take, right? And all along the way, my wife, we were living. One of our dreams was for her to be home full time with our kids, to raise our kids. So we have 5 kids now, and but we always believe that, hey, we can do this thing, right? These other people who are showing us how to make wealth, they're telling us what is it going to take to get there and persevere. So I'd say, it starts with that first. Now, number 2, let's say you have some of that or you're in your journey to there. It becomes certainty of conviction of the investment, right? Where we get in trouble is when we're living off of emotion, right? Highs and the lows of the headlines, right? And it's certainly very, very, you got to be very cautious in the crypto world, because that's a lot of what it is for folks who are not studying it and understand it, right? And so one of the things actually funny with the Ethereum gentleman, he's in the Silicon Valley, and he saw this a long time ago, and he told the story of how he goes, I said, well, what did your wife think when you're investing all this money? And he goes, well, she didn't actually know right away. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, we sat down a couple years later, and I was like, well, so I have something to tell you. And it was like during their anniversary dinner or something. She's like, she thought it was going to be something crazy. Like, what is this? What is something, something going on with our marriage? He's like, no. I've been investing in this thing called Ethereum. She's like, cryptocurrency? He's like, yeah. Well, what's it worth? Well, it's gone up quite a bit. She's like, well, sell it all. He's like, no, there's a future for it. And let me explain. And so she's living off of emotion and a little bit of knowledge. Yeah. He has very big knowledge, but check this out. The story kind of goes both ways here, just so you know. So in 2017, guess what? It goes through the roof. Okay. It goes from about 100,000 investment to about 6 million. So what does she say? She's like, sell. He's like, well, I think there's a future in this thing. I think it's going to go higher. But she goes, but I want to buy a place in Tahoe. I want to buy this house in Tahoe. We can retire. We can do all this stuff. He's like, yeah, okay, let's meet somewhere in the middle. Let's sell some of this. And he goes, I go to sell it, but then I had this capital gains tax. I was like, So as he's looking for this capital gains tax solution, which he can't find at the time, guess what? Market crashes, right? So he's like, shoot. So now he's like, I don't want to sell anything. She's like, fine, we're not going to sell. So then, but he goes, she's like, well, we're going to hold? He goes, yeah, we're going to hold. So he holds all the way till about 45 days ago. And then he finds us and he's like, okay, ready to sell. Well, guess what? The value is now $9.5 million. Okay. So his 100,000 went to 6 million, dropped way down, then it went all the way up to 9.5 million. So then he's like, well, what do you want to do? And she's like, sell. And he goes, okay, well, we'll sell some of it, but we're going to do it in, dollar cost average. And we're going to defer it out. Well, then a couple weeks after that, it goes to 12.5 million. Now it's probably dropped to 10. So the point is, it's been an absolute kind of roller coaster.
Yeah.
What we like to say is, what will it mean for you if you were able to capture conservatively 1, 5, 10, whatever the amount is, defer it, and just realize that money over there is going to be just your cash flow expense money, or your never have to work again money, or your whatever. But when you can establish that vision with your wealth and then combine the two in a plan, that's when the magic happens. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it does.
So we have a couple questions from the audience really quick. Do you agree that that keeping money in the bank will never make you money?
So inflation, right, especially right now, is all time like cautious. It's part of what's driving the crypto world. It's part of why real estate is so red hot and just getting more and more. So right, I'm not a person that holds money at the bank, right? Except for emergency fund, right? So I would agree with that. Yes, Brandon.
Perfect. And then what are your thoughts on self-directed IRAs?
So thoughts on self-directed IRAs? I think they're great, especially if you like real estate, right? And you have trusted, commercial real estate brokers or realtors that can help you buy stuff that's local, stuff that you can get your hands on, stuff that you can improve yourself, and that gives you more control over your investments, right? So versus just relying on, again, the stock market, which can go up and down based upon big emotions and things that are overseas, things that we can't control. So yeah, I'm a big fan of cash flow, hands-on, owning real estate. Now, I'm also a big fan of not buying when prices are through the roof just to buy, right? So you want to make sure you're underwriting and understanding what you're buying and what your plan is to add value to the property versus just buying something turnkey and getting a low return, and that can be subject to a big market correction. So that's what happened in 2008 when I was going through all of my challenges. So were my clients. They had lost half of their wealth because they had too much debt, not enough liquidity, and they had overpaid for property. And part of why they overpaid is because they did what's called a 1031 exchange, which is another topic we can talk about. But it felt like they forced them to overpay because they have a short window. So you want to just make sure that you're buying when it makes sense and you're buying on the certainty of your conviction for that deal.
So when you're saying 1031, I have no idea what a 1031 is. And I actually wanted to ask about that. It's on my list, but I also have a question about the tax credit on houses. Is every state different with their house credit? Because like you mentioned how if you live in the house the last 2 years, you get a tax credit and a house tax credit. And I'm sitting here going, I don't think Ohio has anything. And we're in Ohio. And I'm like, I don't think they have anything like that. But it's an interesting way of being able to know whether you should be renting, living, what you should be doing, and how to get the best out of it. Where would you recommend people start with investments as house tax credits and stuff?
Yeah, good question. So just to clarify what that tax incentive is tax credit is a little bit different, but it's similar to what you're saying. So if you buy a house, and this is federal, by the way, and you live there 2 of the last 5 years, you can receive up to, if you're married, $500,000 tax-free on that house. So I'll give you an example. I bought the house in Roseville, California, Sacramento for $135,000. My wife and I lived there for 2 years, and we sold it like 2 years and a week later. So we lived there as our primary house 2 of the last 5 years. So our gain was on paper 250 minus 130, about what's that? About 120,000, right? But we had a 121 exclusion. You can look that up. 121 exclusion, home tax incentive, and we were able to walk away tax free. Okay, so we sold the house and all the money comes in, but there's no taxes due because we've lived there 2 of the last 5 years. So that's the first thing. To answer your other question, buy a house when you can, of course, right? Again, as long as you're not overpaying, right? Because right in California, there's a house on the market. It got national news. It had 140 offers on it, and it was insanity, right? So you've got to start with your budget, your emergency plan, your expenses, making sure that the foundation of your wealth is solid. You don't want to go into a house and just to get into the house of the frenzy when you're on shaky ground, right? And then that thing becomes a curse and not a blessing, right? You want it to be a blessing for you because you're ready and able to financially buy and own the house. So it's not an easy answer. It doesn't mean you don't buy a house today because prices are high, but it does mean you got to make sure you're taking care of the foundation before you're going into such a big purchase, if that makes sense, Brandon.
It makes complete sense. What about people who are just starting out? Sorry, Gavin, I was reading the comments.
No, you're good. I was about to do that one right there.
If it wasn't Bob, I love Bob, and he really is trying to do good things, but he's tight, and he knows his money's tight as a veteran. Where would be an investment for someone like himself who only has a few dollars, 10 to 20 each month he can spare? And that was actually a question another person asked as well, that they have like 30 pounds a month. Where would you recommend being able to people that are in those tighter situations being able to try to get into the investing world and really start building up their confidence?
Yeah. So again, when I started out, I was making next to zero, but I was working side jobs, multiple jobs, 60, 70-hour weeks to increase my income. Right.
Yeah.
But I was also building for my long-term wealth. So I was working the W-2 job to keep the lights on by day, or by night and weekends, actually. And by day, I was in Marcus & Millichap, which is an investment real estate brokerage firm, learning from some of the best, smartest people in commercial real estate. And by the way, the top 3% of wealth in America owns commercial real estate. So I was learning for some of the best of the best, so investing in my knowledge and in my understanding of how to build wealth in real estate. So the first question is, how are you planning for your long-term wealth, right? How are you planning to make more income, right? So oftentimes, if we're in just I don't know if the listeners who are listening are in fixed W-2 jobs, but maybe you get your real estate license, right? Maybe start selling houses on the side. My brother is a teacher and he's on a pretty fixed salary, and it's not great, but guess what? He has his real estate license. Guess what? He's selling 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 homes per year. And what are those worth? Well, $5,000 to $10,000 per house that's sold. And what does he do with that? Well, he invests that money, right? So you work full time on what you have to work on, but you work part time on what's going to help you create more wealth and more income. And eventually, if you work enough on that other one, guess what? You can walk away from the one that's just keeping the lights on. And that's that. So start a business. Go get your real estate license. Invest a small amount into something, right? I mean, some of my real estate investments are as much as $5,000 or $10,000. They're smaller amounts. It doesn't have to be a huge amount. So I think hopefully that answers the question there.
Yeah, I got you. If not, they can ask it a different way, and hopefully, go ahead, Gavin. I see you're there.
So I'm curious now. Now you've I'm gonna be honest. There's been a couple of times where, like, for a quick moment, I see something that catches my eye. I drift off for quite a second, but you caught my attention with the real estate thing. How do you go about getting your real estate license, and like what is the process with that and the actual selling? Because I do really enjoy talking to people. I've been told that I have good salesmanship kind of thing, but I always thought that it was a full-time thing. I always thought if you're a real estate agent, that's all you do. You do it 24/7. You make a bunch of money, but you're kind of just bound to the desk doing that.
Yeah, I think that's a false belief, because of course, if you go full-time, and when I first started, I was absolutely all in full-time, and it was intense, to say the least. So of course, the quicker you can be full-time, the more success you can see faster, right? Because it's a numbers game. It's talking to the people, it's meeting the people, it's underwriting properties. So, but what if you just start with one house next year, Gavin, right? And you got $10,000, right? And you still do your thing. All right. And how many hours do you put into that? Well, first of all, the real estate license is actually pretty easy to get. Most people don't realize this. They have online courses that you can knock out really fast. B, they have these crash courses that teach you how to pass the test. And what I'm telling you, Gavin, is you could take these online courses and click through them. It's all open book, open note. Okay. And pass these tests. Second, take these crash courses that you can spend an entire weekend. And I actually would venture to this, Gavin. If you took the crash course this weekend, okay, the courses that I've taken, and I don't know if they have them for Ohio, I imagine they probably do, and you spend 8 hours on a Saturday, 8 hours on a Sunday, and you took the test on Wednesday, I would bet you'd get a 95% on the test, okay, without knowing anything about real estate, not even reading a book. Nothing. They teach you how to pass the test. Okay. Now, do you still have to do the other stuff? Yeah. But people make it so daunting. We're so used to a public school system and a university system that says you got to spend all of these months and all of this time and all of this stuff to be able to pass this test. Yeah. Okay. And by the way, I failed my first time I took my test. I have 2 degrees and a minor, played basketball in college. I went to public schools all my life. And I studied like a madman, like all the stuff. Okay. And I failed by 3 answers. And my buddy said, dude, I told you to take the crash course. I go, but I got 2 degrees and a minor. I got this thing figured out. They're like, no, they want you to fail that test. It's not about that. It's not about knowing real estate. Those questions are kind of tricky. I'm like, really? Like, yeah. So you go to the crash course. So I take the crash course. And I literally walked out in 30 minutes. I zoomed through the class of the test, where most people take 2 hours to take the test. And I got probably 97%. They don't tell you, but I walked out laughing like this is so you got to know those little nuances and get over the false belief of this is so daunting to get my license. Like I have to do like a whole semester or go to college to get. No, go online right now, click, if you're in Ohio, I want to get my real estate license. Okay. Look for crash course and just literally follow that system. Now, the second part of it is, well, do I really have to go all full time? Like I'm never going to make it. What do you mean? Gavin, you probably know your cousin or brother, sister, your dad or mom. Guess what? They might be selling their house in the next year or two. Wow. Right? Do you think you can get that listing? Yeah. Now, do you need to partner with someone who knows what they're doing so make sure you're not just your parents aren't stepping on a landmine? Of course. You join. I'm a part of I hold my broker's license at EXP. It's the fastest growing real estate company brokerage in the world ever. Right. And it's national. And I have partners across the nation. You join underneath me, Gavin, and I teach you some stuff. Right. And why? I want to make you successful. And you list the house and you sell it. Wow. And then you got that first one done and you get the second one and you get the third one. And all of a sudden people are coming to you and all of a sudden you're an expert. So I would just say be willing to think outside the box on that. Right. Yeah. And be willing to just do what other people aren't willing to do. Now, most people are going to be playing video games. By the way, I love playing video games. I grew up playing video games. They might be golfing. They might be, just hanging out with friends. And, there's a time and place for all of that. I'm not saying take that away, but focus on the big why of what you're trying to accomplish and then go execute and take massive action on those things. Like I just told you. That make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, I do enjoy my downtime relaxing, but you could ask Brandon. I'm a workhorse. Like I wake up and once my day starts, it does not stop until it's over. Like I just all the time.
Love it. Yeah. Love it. I can tell.
I'm saying, really quick, small question. Do you need to get your license renewed or once you have it, do you just have it?
Yeah, you get renewed. You get continual education every I think it's 4 years. Again, go online.
Oh, okay. That's not bad at all.
Easy.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So on Mondays, we actually do, to help people build their best selves, we bring in another podcast as well. Her name's Stovetop Yum Yum, and she teaches us cooking. She's been backstage writing comments to us about how awesome you are. She has a couple questions as well. We're going to bring her in and have some fun with you and have a conversation about how she can make some more money with capital gains because she has a rental property in Florida she's been commenting on. She's excited to meet you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, please remember to cheer for Miss Maritza.
Hey guys.
How you doing, Melissa?
Good.
How are you?
Good, honey. I'm good. How are you? How are you, Brett? Nice to meet you.
You too. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. I might not be my cheerful self today. I'll try, but I have a very close family member that's like a second mother that's very critical in ICU. So it's been a hard
terribly
week.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sorry, Maritza.
Thank you, honey. Thank you.
Maritza, what are you making for us today? And I know you had questions for Brett as well.
Yes. Well, today, guys, I'm making a brunch-style bacon cheddar turkey burger without the bun. You're going to be so shocked when you see this. It's awesome.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
I have a substitute bun. Anyway, so I hope everybody's great. And I did get started, Brett and Brandon and Gavin. I have a 30-minute segment, so I wanted to show you guys. I pre-made my patties. I'm not going to show you the buns just yet. It's a surprise. And what I did was I grabbed 1 pound of ground turkey and put all types of fun stuff in it. Half a small onion, parsley, onion powder, garlic powder, fresh garlic clove, paprika, oh my God, mustard. I have all the recipe. I sent it to Brandon. So we have the whole recipe for that with an egg and some panko, a few tablespoons of panko, and it's going to be so delicious, you guys. I can smell it in here. Of course, I always cheat and I take a little shortcut. So look at how that's starting to look. You see that? I can't get a close
Yeah,
up.
well, we got our mics muted right now. That's why we're just listening to you.
Oh, okay.
No, it looks great, Marissa.
Check that out. Doesn't that look good?
Looks fantastic.
It's so wonderful. So anyway,
So what did you season that with? You said paprika and what else?
I used a fresh onion, half a small onion, some parsley, some onion powder, garlic powder, a fresh garlic clove, paprika, ground mustard, ginger, a little bit of ground ginger, salt and pepper to taste. And of course, I have a lemon, which I'm going to squeeze on it when it's done. So yummy. And I also made a homemade, very simple garlic aioli, which I grabbed a little bit of mayo, put some fresh garlic in it with some lemon juice, with a teaspoon of lemon juice and some ground black pepper. Good. Yum. And I have my fresh cut bacon, as you guys can see. I like to use thick. So I normally make my bacon in the air fryer, but today I wanted to make it in the frying pan. And the reason why I did it on the stovetop is because a tiny bit of that bacon fat from the bacon will put a little more flavor on our burgers. That's the reason why I did that. So that's a good tip, a good secret. I mean, not the whole pile of bacon fat, but just, kind of like get rid of some of it. And I also have some fresh baby spinach as our greens. So as you can see, we're going to have our bun's going to be our fruit. We have our vegetables. We have our protein. I'm all about making sure that my family and everyone I share my episodes with knows that how important it is to have your good proteins, your good fats, your veggies. I say it all the time, guys. And I will say that you don't have to think that because you're eating healthy, it doesn't taste good. It definitely does taste delicious. For my vegetarian friends, my vegetarian friends, they can substitute the turkey for some ground duxellus. You can make some duxellus, which is a French term for grinding up baby bella mushrooms, and then you can bind it with your egg and make a mushroom burger and throw some black beans in there. I've done that before too, so it's absolutely delicious. Just so you guys know.
No, it sounds wonderful.
Yeah, really yummy.
So Brett, with being a guy who's been through a lot, you've done through financing and everything like that, you obviously have the appearance of a guy who takes care of himself through exercise and diet and stuff. Do you stick to anything in particular? Or you're in California. Do you have avocado toast every morning? Or how do you take care of yourself with your food and diet?
For sure, yeah. I just spent a week in Wyoming, by the way. It was amazing, and we had some ribeye, we had some burgers.
Yes!
Yeah, we had some amazing food. So it's 80-20 though. I'd say I switched to more plant-based about 3 years ago. I read a book called TB12. It's Tom Brady's book, and I went from I have headaches, some energy. I have less headaches now, more energy. Right? It wasn't so much. It was more for, do I have more energy and more strength, right? And I'll try it out. I was like, I'm kind of hesitant to do that. So I'd say 80-20, 80% plant-based, 20% meat, right? Versus before it was more like 80% meat, 20% plant-based. So I just kind of moderation. I flip that, and of course, making sure you're getting hydrated, and I drink water with electrolytes, working out, for at least 4 days a week, sometimes 5, meditation and reading the Bible every day, and having fun too. Again, still making sure I'm not working too much. All of those things factor. I do a thing, or Tom Brady taught me in the book, a thing called pliability, where I use a vibrating foam roller to help my muscles relax and get massaged, right? Yeah. So it's like a foam roller, but it's vibrating. So that's been a game changer for me. So all of those kind of those little things, Brandon, but I'm trying to think about, I have a lot of the sugar, right? So I'm trying to get less sugar. Those are some of the things I'm working on. I got a sweet tooth. So
how have these changes after reading this book, how have these changes affected your work ethic and how productive you are in your business?
Yeah, I've always been productive and always working hard. But I have 5 kids, 2 businesses, 2 podcasts, and
oh my God, busy man.
Yeah. So it's it went from time management to energy management. So, and then I'm getting older, right? I'm now 37, almost 38. And so,
Oh,
you know,
so old.
father time catches up with you, right? So I need to get any edge I could, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
So with food, it was a tough challenge to change. That's why we have Maritza on, is we like people to learn about why the food is important. For me, I think I was 80-20 like you. I was doing more meat than veggies, and figuring out the diet and switching it to the opposite. Then the adding of the meditation and exercise, it really did make a difference that you didn't see. What was your main reason you wanted to do it? I just turned 38, so I understand where you're coming from. You look much more professional than I do, but that's because I've never like. It's the glass. I have mine somewhere. I'll get them on. I just
It's like Superman. He just turned into a brand new person.
He did. Yeah. Look at him. He's like,
jack it off. You know what I mean? I didn't know where I was coming. What was going on? My team, you know, a little more relaxed. At least I didn't have the tie on, guys. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we love it. Either way.
You look great.
Hey guys, excuse me. Can I interrupt? Back to the food.
Yeah.
I want you guys to know as well that if you'll notice, I keep putting little dabs of water in here to steam it so it doesn't burn. So it's kind of like making popcorn. That's what I normally do when I'm making that, because we need to understand. I'm sure everyone knows poultry needs to be cooked through, so we need to make sure that it's cooked through and it's not burned. But I totally agree. I totally agree with Brett that, you know, I'm not really, you know, 13 years ago I was a woman that was 300 pounds, and it's been 13 years, and there were no shortcuts, no surgeries. I've said it before on this show, and for me, it's all about portion control. I eat healthy, but my portions are very controlled. And I've been doing that for 13 years with exercise. And I'm 172 pounds right now. So still a little on the chunky side, but I feel better. I'm much better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you've been you've been balancing yourself. And that's the important thing, is making sure to get the right foods in you. And so like that's what we're doing here, between Gavin being attractive, me just being orange, and apparently I like to wear orange as a jumpsuit. I've had 2 people comment on that again. And Maritza bringing in the food. Brett comes in and he teaches us all about how to make money. We're buying houses with him now. I'm loving where we're headed, guys. We're building a better future.
No, I'm very excited about that. I'm going to be definitely looking into real estate a bit, just because now that I know I could do it as a part-time thing. That does interest me, so I'm very glad that he did come on. What would you recommend a first area buy would be? Would you recommend more like in the city kind of area, or more of a suburban? I live right outside of Cleveland. I live right in the suburbs of Cleveland. So would it benefit me more to go in, or does it all depend on what the market is looking like? I know right now it's a seller's market.
Yeah, again, it's each micro location specific, and then second, it's what you already know is what I would say. So what do you most know, Gavin? Like, what do you know the areas that are kind of up and coming, or what do you know the areas that you stay away from, or the areas you're like, I would definitely want to live in, right? Like, you kind of already know. You don't have to overthink it, and then you want to look for something that's value add, and that's the key. It's like the house flip guys, right? Like, you don't want to buy the thing that all the juice has been squeezed out of it, right? Where you show up and like, I'm just buying it at the height, and it's easy. I can just walk into it. Right? Can you buy something that needs some work? You know, when I bought my first house, again, the first day, my dad and I are in there with even if actually the day before it closed, we knew it was closing. We were so anxious to get the work going. We were pounding through, taking walls out, right? And ripping out floors and, you know, doing all the stuff, right? So that's the thing you want to find where you can add the value, do some sweat equity, right? Now that can be a full-time job in itself too. So be aware of that. But I was doing that. And I about burned out on my second rehab for my other house when I was doing the rehab there. But then I also knew when to hire people, not just do it all myself. So it's kind of you got to listen and realize, kind of get someone who's been there. Now, I also grew up in the real estate business. My dad was a contractor and built a house from the ground up. So I had some of that. Your first one might be you bring in that friend of yours who's going to with you, and you're going to do some of the grunt labor to try to save a little bit of money, but you're also going to learn alongside of them, right? The key is not to buy the house or do the thing. The thing is to learn it so that you can take that education for the rest of your life. And so how old are you, Gavin?
I'm 21.
Yeah, exactly. So you're 21,
Yeah.
right? If you spend the next 2 years kind of focused on getting your real estate license, maybe buying a house, like you're setting yourself up with that knowledge for the rest of your life. Even Brandon, 38, it's never too. It's never too. You're never too old for this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Unless
Mhm.
you're well into your 60s and your body's falling apart, right? That can be tough. But still, you want to make sure that you're just doing that next step, and you're not trying to do it all the how yourself. You're hiring the who, or you're partnering with the who. Does that make sense? Instead
Yeah.
of being the how, I think we also get, and even me, like we get like, I can do this. I can figure it out. I'm in control. Let me just watch a YouTube video and go do this thing. Okay. That can be kind of daunting, and you might get some initial inspiration for that, but then you kind of fizzle out. So it's a mix between inspiration and hiring or partnering with the who, right? To help you take that next step, because someone who's just one step ahead of you, and a guy named Russell Brunson says this well, like one step ahead of you, you're looking at huge opportunity to when you have that person versus just a YouTube video or a book, right? So I've had to get out of my own way, if that makes sense. So don't think you have to do this all yourself. And maybe it's finding that great realtor, right, in that area who has that knowledge to help you too. That could be a point too, if that makes sense, Gavin.
Yeah, no, actually, great sense. Thank you so much. Clears it up. It looks like Maritza is almost done with her dish right now, so we're going to check on the end result for that really quick.
She's on mute, though. There we go.
And by the way, Gavin, if I can give you my 2 cents, we're real estate investors. I have 3 words for you: location, 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 my friend. You can thank me. You can thank me later.
Thanks.
Right, Brett?
Yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it, Maritza. You nailed it.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, guys. So I put some bacon. Look at this, and I put a slice of cheddar cheese. See that?
Yeah.
Look at my buns. Ta-da! Steak tomatoes.
Okay.
Ooh.
How
So that-
cool is that? All right, so I'm going to move. I'm going to go ahead and plate. Can you guys see this here?
Yeah. So what are the health benefits of doing tomatoes rather than a whole wheat bun?
We're cutting on the carbs. I mean, this is not something that I personally would do every day, because I do have my healthy carbs, whether it's whole wheat bread or there's a lot of different healthy carbs. And but this is more of like a keto version of a brunch style bacon cheddar turkey burger, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And keto, to me, I have respect for it, but I don't know if you guys agree, but I'm kind of like, it's nice to have it once in a while, but
Yeah.
not all the time.
And then is it turkey bacon as well?
No, it's pig bacon. Yum.
It's pork.
Ooh.
Okay.
I like pig bacon.
Yeah,
I like
that-
pig bacon.
Gotta have a little bit of fat in there. So I put some of my aioli in here, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and put one of my patties. Oh my God. I'm starting to get nervous. This is gonna be a definite twerk.
Uh-oh.
Don't panic, Brett, when you see me twerk. I twerk when I love my food, so. Oh, and by the way, guys, my website has been redone and it's live, Brandon.
Woo!
It's amazing. Great job.
Thank you. I fixed some stuff on my store, added inventory, been working so hard, guys. You guys know me, so I got a little lemon on there, on my spinach. I'm all about building flavors, Brett.
Yeah.
My guys know me. I'm all about building flavors, so.
It's great. It's a great strategy.
Yes, I'm all about building flavors, and if you'll, I have a channel. I have my brand, Stovetop Yum Yum, and oh, wait a second, I'm talking a mile a minute. I got to get my Delight, which
I was like,
I'm
did you
low
get your
on.
new box? Did you get your new box yet in the mail?
No.
All right, that gives me a chance to now send an email to someone.
I'm like, where's my Delight? All right,
Because
here we
I
go.
sent it last week.
I know, I believe you. Okay, listen to this, guys, okay? I open my patty. Now, this Delight is 15 milligrams of CBD with no taste and no odor. And I'll tell you something, it saved my life, as dramatic as that sounds. I don't promote it. I don't sell it. I am a consumer. And I am so passionate about it that this is the reason why I share this on the show. So important. I have videos, I have testimonies from my 13-year-old son, Brett, that he's just amazed, and my husband's so amazed at how this has changed me. I'm an angry Cuban, Brett. You might not know that, but I'm angry. I'm loud too.
I don't
Cubans are
believe
loud. You go to a Cuban barbecue, you might get nervous. Just people talking so loud. Just like when you go to barbecues with black people too, we're really loud. We're all really loud. So anyway, I'm gonna pour my little chaba on here. I always put some on my finger. God, it doesn't taste like nothing. But I can't be without it, just so you know. It really has changed my life. So now I'm going to wrap this really cute. This is going to be so popular, Brandon. Oh, my God. This is such a good recipe.
I'm sharing the recipe again with everybody, everything you sent me.
Okay.
Like the bacon cheddar turkey burger. Boom.
I want to lick my fingers, but I'll never do that in public. So hold on. It's good etiquette not to. Look at this, guys. You ready? I don't even have a plate with me today. Look at that.
Oh, wow. Wow, that looks good.
How beautiful is that?
Oh, that looks good.
Gorgeous.
Looks awesome.
Doesn't that look good? So I'm going to take a really messy bite now. You guys ready? Oh, and I also, guys, I also put some salt on my tomatoes. I lightly salted it, building flavors. All right, here it goes, okay? Oh, my God, my mouth is watering. Okay, here we go.
Uh-oh. Taste testing. Here we go. This is on a scale of 1 to twerk. She is stove twerk yum yum, and when it gets that good, we never know until it comes. And if it's got good, she twerks. We're finding out. Oh no, it's building up. Oh,
you guys, this is amazing.
Oh yeah, there it is. Boom.
Now I know that Brandon and a lot of other people that I know actually do not like tomatoes. What would you say is another healthy, tasty substitute that you could use for this alternative bun?
I don't know. Get some portobello mushrooms, or get some, not baby bellas, get some big bellas. Take the stems out, clean them out. Never burn them underwater because mushrooms absorb a lot of liquid. So grab a damp towel, clean them out. Go ahead and brown them a little bit if you'd like, or I would leave them raw because they're not very pliable when you cook them.
Yeah.
And look at this, please.
I'm with Brett.
Look at how amazing this is.
Lettuce. Oh, that looks good.
It's absolutely
I don't
wonderful.
like tomato either, Mandy. I'm not a big mushroom fan either. If they're not going to send me on a journey, I really don't like them.
So guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but when you eat this, always remember your shoulders have to be out, okay? We don't want no liquid on our like Guy Fieri.
I love it. So, Brett, the way we end every episode is we give each other a positive affirmation to take with us throughout the week and throughout the day. Gavin will go first. I'll go second. Then Maritza. And then you, so you see how it goes. But I want to thank you for coming on and start with that. And just thank you for being here with us, bringing that positive way, because financials are something that's a very sensitive topic. And you made it not just fun. You made it one where we were asking questions and this hour flew by. You really did. Everybody give your podcast a quick check out. I tried to share it, but Facebook, the link said that I'm not allowed to for some reason. Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I got.
Do you have a website that we're able to share?
Yeah, capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. You can try that too. They've been funny about that kind of thing lately. I don't know why, but yeah.
And this is your website. I could tell by the background and the picture of you here. Guys, I'll try to share it again, and that way everybody can get it. But make sure you do yourself a favor and go subscribe, follow, like, tweet, all of it. Any questions you have, Brett is there ready for you to be able to help and bring out the best financials for you. Gavin, go ahead, my friend.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm always talking about with people is be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Go out, try new things, try things that take risks, basically. And that is exactly what I'm going to be doing. I've never been really huge into any sort of financial thing, taxes, investments, stuff like that. And in all honesty, I do feel nervous. I feel uncomfortable about getting into real estate, but I'm also extremely excited because I know that the payoff is most definitely worth the risk. And I feel like that I can be successful in it. Even if I just sell one house, I would be happy with that. In my mind, that is success to me. That is an accomplishment. So I'm very grateful to have Brett on the show to sort of ease some of my tensions and some of my misinformation and corrected that for me about how I thought about the real estate world. So I'm very, very excited to go on this this new journey and make it a part of my life.
I love it. I love it. Very well said, Gavin. Very well said. So for me, I really am grateful that we had someone who can take, because money is a subject that people take personally, and everybody has all the answers. But to actually sit down with a individual to teach you about it and be open, like Brett was, to share with us these great wealth of knowledge is something that we have to be proud of and be grateful we can have. And truthfully, I love being able to talk to people like him and learn about financials. I think CK Ford says it best: extremely informative and most practical way I've ever heard about cryptocurrencies. And then I'm going to make sure to say hello to Miss Harriet here. God loves you too. I appreciate you coming on and saying hello. Have a great day, Mandy. But for ourselves, make sure that if you do have questions, Brett's website is here and available. I'm going to put it on the link afterwards for this show for everybody to be able to share. Share it, because you never know who might need that little kick of information to help them get to the next level and build their best them. Guys, do yourself a favor. Love, share, and be ready to change the world together. All right? Thank you, guys.
Love that. Hey, guys. I'm back. Just kidding. I just wanted to let you guys know that I love the theme of today's show and what Brett was talking about. Very knowledgeable man. And I will say that always remember that the worst intent of something you intend to do is the one that you don't make. Always remember that everyone has their own. My son is deep into crypto right now, and he's teaching my husband and I, and we're deep into real estate. So it all depends. We're into investment. And I will say that the worst risk is the one you don't take. So, everything's a risk in life. And I personally will say that from my opinion, I live by the law of attraction. And I'm actually updating my vision board today. And that vision board I had before has given me a lot. So what I mean by that is, never give up on your dreams. Follow your dreams. Think deep thoughts of what you want and watch the universe give it to you. That's my thought and my opinion. But I will also say that I love you guys so much. Don't forget to go to my website. The store is amazing. I'm actually one of the models on one of the shirts. Can you believe that? I mean, I couldn't believe that. But anyway, I love you guys, and always, always, always stick to your dreams. People their dreams fall apart because they stop dreaming. Never stop dreaming. Take that chance, because you don't want the what if. So I love you guys, and stay positive and stay focused. And my love for you is 100, genuine. Love you guys.
And Brett.
All right, I'm up, guys. Well, first of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share a part of my story and answer your guys' questions. It's like I think I kind of said during the whole episode that I had to start somewhere. We're all starting somewhere, right? And that's okay. Realize where you're at and take the next step forward, and realize that we've all been given certain gifts, and I believe these gifts have been given to us to be a blessing and help to others. Mm-hmm. So identifying what that strength or that gift is that you have, right? What that passion that you've been given, and then figuring out a way to impact others with that. But the third part of that is, there's actually two other parts I want to touch on. The other part is maximizing that gift, right? I think sometimes if we're not focused on maximizing the gift, we become a generalist versus the one gift that we've really been given. Like, we're not all created to be attorneys or doctors or whatever. So what is that one gift that you believe you've been given, and how can you maximize the potential of that gift, and how can you impact others? And the big theme of all of that kind of wraps it all up is, for me, it's having faith that there's a purpose for our lives. And so when you can feel that just making a difference in people's lives, and on a bigger perspective, on an eternal perspective, everything changes, right? So again, what's that one gift you've been given? How are you maximizing the potential of that gift? How are you going to impact others with that gift? And having faith that there's a bigger purpose for your life. That to me equals fulfillment and lots of ways to bless others. So that's it. That would be my encouragement. Thanks so much. Yeah, capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. Anything that's highly appreciated, you can go there and check it out.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm going to have some fun here. You ready? Watch this. Boom. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and having fun. We have the 3 Bs today, Brett, Brandon, Gavin, and Stovetop. Make sure to go out, spread positivity, spread love, and change the world. Brett, once again, thank you for coming. I'm talking to the guest Brett, not my Brett. Brett, you're always here, and I love you for who you are. Guys, have a great one. Spread positivity, spread joy. Reach out to Brett if you want to get into financial stuff, and thank you.